So let the clock begin. I'm Graham Boyd. I grew up in Pinetown, North Carolina. I was born and raised there. That's in Beaufort County on a family farm, and still remain engaged in that activity. I graduated from high school in Bath, North Carolina, which is familiar to all of us who went to grade school here. That's the oldest town in North Carolina. And there's where I really developed my interest in agriculture policy as a national officer in the FFA organization. Traveled around the entire country and the world, and then finished a degree at NC State University. And 30 seconds means I got to speed up my pace here. So I work every day in agriculture policy. My company is Agri Strategies Inc., and I manage two of the larger agriculture commodity organizations in the state, and that means that I deal with federal and legislative issues on a daily basis. Married for 25 years with 3 children. Now I'm out of time. So no, I saw you make the thing. I'm sorry. So anyway, I look forward to the opportunity to answer these questions, and I chose to. Now I'm out of time.
You would be entering as a member of the minority party. What issues do you feel hold the most promise to getting something accomplished in a divided house?
Yeah, I agree with much of the points that Celeste just made. I think that we have to focus on what are the American issues, and they tend to be nonpartisan. I agree with her in terms of veteran services recognition. I'll tell you, I work in an area of agriculture, and that tends to be very nonpartisan. Disaster recovery programs, snag and drag, we need to unplug our waterways. That's something that would require nonpartisan support. I think that we look at immigration issues in terms of guest worker reform. We need that in agriculture. Listen, both sides. I've sat through the Judiciary Committee hearings when each party was in the majority and both failed us. So there are some things that are huge American big lift items. They will require that you have an American vote on those things. And that means a nonpartisan, if you will, or a bipartisan solution. Trade is one of those areas. If we're going to have it for agriculture, it's going to require support from both sides of the aisle. Listen, that, ladies and gentlemen, is what we need. We need solutions. And I thank you. There's a lot of, obviously, repeat that will associate with trade. I live in that world every day in agriculture, so I understand directly what the impact is. I've actually sat in the White House in the discussions April of last year, and we talked about the impact, $14 billion to soybeans, etc., on down the line. But at the same time, it's important to understand the situation, the scenario of intellectual property, currency manipulation, and steel tariffs and things. That it's a difficult balance. It's a lot of pain. We will come out of it. We actually, Undersecretary Ted McKinney and I were in a discussion late February on this very issue in Washington, and he assured us by late March, the Chinese president would be here, and we would come to solutions. The one thing that I want to expand upon on that is I differ with the president on taking any of the military preparedness fund to redirect towards the construction of the wall. We need to find that somewhere else in the budget. I can't tell you exactly where it is. I haven't examined it. But hands off of military preparedness money. Okay, obviously there gets to be repetition by the last person. Open waterway dredge. I obviously had written that point down as well. Look, I have fond memories of first time going offshore out of Oregon Inlet. I was actually not able to do that until I was in college. My roommate in college was David Spencer, the youngest of the Spencer family. That's Paul Spencer and Duke Spencer, Spencer Yachts, that many of you from the Dare County area are familiar with. 57-pound yellowfin tuna was the first fish I ever boated. So, exciting to support that. Understand those are the type of people that are advising me on this issue. Look, there's a couple of things. Catching is one aspect of it. Marketing is an area that we need support and assistance. There's a cap on the H-2B seasonal workers in the seafood industry. I think they want to be able to access an H-2A program like we do in agriculture for seasonal workers on seafood processing. We need help there because if you have a catch and you can't get it to market. I support an investment tax credit for these crippling industries as well for things specific to them. And then finally, disaster assistance programs. The same position described here, of course. We all support securing the border. And I think that we need to uphold the legal pathway to citizenship that exists, that has worked for many, and in fairness to those who have executed that system of becoming a citizen here in the United States. And I think that we need to obviously understand that it is immigration and security of the nation is greater than just a physical barrier on the border. There are many ways that people come here. They overextend visas, they overextend study programs. There is people who wish to still infiltrate our country with the intent of doing harm. They come here by airplane, etc., through false pretense. So we need to make sure we have strong discovery and enforcement in that system, and then obviously deal with those who are already here. And so I would oppose any type of amnesty program, and that
Position pertinent to the national debt. Would you cast a vote as a member of Congress that would add to the national debt?
I'll elaborate on my predecessor, no. I'll also say, I whispered to Paul, if I get the ag question, I'm buying a lottery ticket tonight. Darn it.
Your next question. President Trump has endorsed federal legislation allowing so-called red flag gun seizures, where courts can order firearms taken away from individuals deemed to be a threat to themselves or others. Would you support this legislation?
I responded to the NRA questionnaire and I answered no on there, and I'll be consistent. Again, as Michelle has pointed out, you're going to hear repetitive agreement and consistency on these issues. Look, it's a dangerous, how do you determine whose judgment, right? There's a sensitive area here. I think the mental illness aspect of when we see a lot of the violence that is unbelievable. Things like the mass shooting in Las Vegas and so many. Speak again to the complexity of it. But I think we have to be careful about how we profile and how we infringe on individual rights, etc. So, no.
At the podium.
And there's one. Don't start the clock yet. My buddy Don's going to hit the drum roll. It's quite a position. All right, so thank you, as everyone has said, for your unbelievable endurance. Long time to sit. I enjoy these events and these forums because of the education that I learned from the fellow candidates. And it just reminds me that there is hope for America. And I grew up with that type of background as a farm boy in Beaufort County with values that my mom and dad instilled, which are faith, family, freedom. I'm a conservative, hard worker. I have experience in the Washington arena on agriculture. I'm not going to use my minute to answer the agriculture question. But the validation of that is Commissioner of Agriculture Steve Troxler, and we're in a huge agricultural district. You all know him, four-term Republican, probably the most popular in our state, has endorsed my campaign. It's not a demerit against anyone else running. It just is evidence of firsthand experience that I'm going to work hard. That's part of an agricultural background value. Long days, dirty, hard work. And I will do that for you. www.grandboydforcongress.com. Very important to do the www, or it takes you to a naughty website, which is not mine.